The Critical Hit podcast contains foul language, sexual subjects, and other things that are inappropriate for children. Content warnings can be found in the episode description. Hello, world, and welcome to another episode of Critical Hit, Foul Mouth Podcast, where we talk about everything. I'm your host, Red King, and with me always is Crimson Chrono Ward,
where we do things on top of tables.
Wow.
Hi, everyone. I have no follow-up.
Tonight, we do things on top of tables. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Tabletop again. I think it's number 4.
Is it number 4? I've been saying 3. I'm booked. Oh, what? I better not be too long.
It's fine. I'll just have to dub it afterwards because I have no clue. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
We are Critical Hit and Tabletop again. Start it now! Why must you do this to me?
Because his life has been consumed by multiple rivals.
Dude, I'm on a streak right now. Just so you know, 12 a.m. Season 2. But they have to do server downtime, which pisses me off. I was going to get in.
It's not like it. So that 12 a.m. doesn't actually matter.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It was the worst thing they could have done. And
that was a...
It was a cock tease.
Yeah,
edging you.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that.
Now I got the reveal of edging, man. Fucking good lord.
Horrifying.
So now, just so you know, within the first 2 or 3 minutes of the video, there's going to be a picture of Edging Man flashed up on screen. just to let you know.
It might also just be Edge Man, but
okay, fuck it. We'll go with either way. Edge Man kind of sounds like a Mega Man villain, don't it?
That's terrible.
Your machines won't work anymore, Mega Man. Do you know what water and other things do to mechanical and electrical items? It's bad. I'm watching it now.
Oh my word. That went nowhere quick.
Yeah.
It went a whole lot of nowhere quick.
Welcome to Overtired the podcast.
Welcome to rolling a 1 on your initiative.
Yeah. Let's talk about some tabletop stuff, man. How's your game going?
Which one?
Let's go with the Daggerheart one because I'm going to use that as my segue.
What did we do in Daggerheart last? We got out of an extra dimensional space where the druid picked up an artifact of the god Ares, was possessed by it, and had to transform into an animal to not start attacking everyone.
don't you
and because that was the artifact keeping the mansion intact, we had to escape extra dimensional collapse and trapped about 12 guys in an extra dimensional space with no way out.
Oh, that's all?
That's
just a Tuesday. Like, that's the one thing I love about, like, if you explain anything going on in Tabletop. It's like world-ending calamities, ancient artifacts, literal gods.
Yeah. And then we went home.
And then we ate. We had some dinner with some stew. You know what I mean?
and then went to sleep. Because I could just.
So my rogue had to pickpocket the spear out of the druid's inventory as the druid transformed back into normal form. So that was fun.
Yeah.
And had to get an anti-magic gauntlet to not be possessed by it herself. So that was fun.
That is insane.
That's very good.
That is insane.
In my campaign, our new number 10 ranked hero got contact from the chromatic cult that they have. One of her, actually it was the previous top 10 who went villain, reformed and decided to try to help in any way he can, and that includes now getting captured by the chromatic cult, and he's the next big decision is whether or not to save him.
Which is the morality of that is just intense. Because if you think about actually having to make that decision,
whether or not he dies, whether or not just anybody dies, especially knowing that, because I played it like kind of pretty heavy, that because they're the only ones who have each other's contact information.
Yeah.
So what had happened was they beat him pretty bad and took a picture using his phone and sent it. So the stakes are very clearly there.
It's like I have a very particular set of skills.
That's funny
I will
because
find you.
in Starfinder, my party has to find a particular NPC in the middle of a gang war in a city.
Hey, we're all about gang warfare here.
Yep.
Okay, listen. I don't know if you see this now. Behold, this is our color. All right, we fly yellow in here.
Except for all of our foam in the background that's not yellow.
The Jolly Roger that's black and white.
Turn it one. I don't know what side is prominent in our area, so I'm going to be very careful about that.
That's a fair play right there. Wow.
Sorry. It's like this is the gang warfare. Excuse me. I heard gang warfare, and I was like, "It's time to go in."
Right. I found another segue. It's fine. Because gangs.
So, well, I will say, so you literally know how in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas you can go and take over other territories?
Yes.
I literally have colored blocks on the hex grid on my battle mat.
Nice.
With each gang representing one district that they are in charge of. And it's funny because the undead gang doesn't particularly care about the party's objective here. Shit popped off, and their goal is to simply to work on turning this planet to an undead paradise like one of the other planets in the Pact Worlds and Starfinder's setting.
Why does Undead Paradise sound like a subtitle for a video game? Dead Rising?
Dead Rising, Undead Paradise.
Done it? Damn. Or it could be like DOA Extreme Beach Volleyball spinoff.
With
Gets a little dark.
Wouldn't Darkstalkers make more sense?
Yeah, well, listen, we got to talk about Darkstalkers again here soon. Just saying. Could be coming. I have been hearing some rumors. Could be coming back.
Well, did you watch the DMC anime? The Devil May Cry anime on Netflix?
So I did not, but I do know that they have tied some things together, and to avoid spoilers, they have tied
because that's like new.
Yeah, it's brand new. And it got spoiled for me because I saw it on a TikTok. So
I watched the My Hero Academia Vigilantes, the episode
debut.
1.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was that in comparison?
Production values are amazing.
Really?
It's episode 1, but the production values are awesome.
They better keep that up.
They're gonna get Mappa season 3'd.
I really hope. Well, so that's a tough one.
And then we quickly derailed into an anime episode.
Well, yeah, I mean, sorry. It was a season 4 thing for AOT, right? Because season 4 they picked up Mappa.
Season 4 looked awesome. I don't know what you're talking about.
I think. I mean, maybe it's
the
a hot
one
take.
time that what?
No, I agree with you. I'm saying, but I think that's a hot take because a lot of people hated that shit. A lot of people got mad at that.
Let's so I was gonna use, I guess hating that is also a pretty good segue. Gangs and hating that. WotC.
Wizards of the Coast, yes.
So I figure I ought to tread the ground that every other every D&D tuber, we're not D&D tubers yet.
Ooh, what? Ooh, teaser.
No, we're Lancer tubers.
Wait, what are we talking about Lancer?
Lancer is a mech combat game. It's a tabletop RPG entirely centered around building your mech. Each part you pick has a story behind it. Each weapon has a story. Because the idea is that your characters are fresh off a war and you're like a group of mercenaries and stuff.
When are we playing? How come I didn't know about? Okay, so you guys pretty commonly talk to me about tabletop related things.
It's come up a couple of times.
I have talked about
There's
Lancer a
no.
few times.
Is it on the cast? I hope it's not on the
Yeah.
cast.
It is.
Nobody go back and listen. There is just so you know, we only have the current 5 episodes. I don't want anybody going back and watching anything else.
Well, they can't watch anything before that.
Yeah, sure. They
It's all
listen.
audio.
Well, not yet. We have options.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's an off-cast discussion.
So,
Suddenly you see a horribly rendered AI video of
Nope.
oh my word, no,
Not a chance.
absolutely not.
I'm not going to be out here looking like the repo bots.
like the thing is, it's always, you ever notice how it's very high contrast? like it's very saturated.
Yep.
And it's like weirdly, like it's not quite CGI, but not quite real. It's very weird.
They do a lot of like pivoting.
Yeah.
Pivot.
Pivot.
Everyone's skin looks just wrong.
Yet another segue of pivoting, something that Watsy isn't doing. I'm gonna finish my point. Y'all are not gonna fucking interrupt me.
No, we're going to edge you along this whole episode.
We're just gonna get kited. I'm just gonna get kited right to the end of it. I'm gonna say Watsy 600 times.
And cut.
Good for search engine optimization.
Right?
Watsy.
Disgusting.
Watsy.
Shut the fuck up.
Watsy.
Let me speak.
Watsy.
All right, you're good. Go. We have been interrupting you like crazy.
Yeah.
And I just
Non-fucking stop.
Again, I'm sorry.
He keeps doing it.
I'm done.
You got a tablet and a water bottle. That's it.
I'm willing to.
You want to go thirsty for the rest of the episode?
I was talking about the
think
tablet,
the
motherfucker.
tablet he was talking
That'll do
about.
more damage. Hit you fucking edgewise right here.
Do you want to know how I got these scars? It was a Samsung tablet thrown at my face.
I got you. You're good. I understand.
Are you fucking sure?
Unlike that bris for a Japanese samurai.
I hate you.
You got it. Let's go. You got it.
No sigil for us.
No, so technically, a shitty form of it exists.
It does. We should do something with that
Wait.
before it disappears.
You want to grab that bitch up and run the laggiest fucking
The
Run a
laggiest,
pre-alpha.
the laggiest, poorly optimized. Not all the features.
Yeah.
Missing a bunch of stats.
Roll perception. That's not on here.
Yo, so that was actually kind of wild though, to think about that, where it's like you're literally missing stats on your sheet.
Yep.
That is
The number one most important thing, because you can kind of get by with everything else. I don't have fucking numbers on my sheet though.
that actually exists already in D&D Beyond. Like that's the thing. Is like you already had it.
Products that you own don't play with each other.
Right. So that's the thing.
Fucking wild.
Literally, it should be you were able to drag and drop your character sheet and have it in sigil.
Yeah.
You can physically drag and drop it.
It
just
won't load.
It just when it happens, it's just like what is this?
Bonitis.
Yeah. Straight bonitis.
Yo.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah. It is kind of wild to me. And
Your character's out here looking like the fucking NBA 2K13 Connect face scans.
wow.
That was a deep pull.
Wow.
That was a pull and a half.
I'm not gonna lie, it started as funny and then it hit me with just how deep of a pull that was.
So like it really now every advertisement that like every D&D tuber has started to advertise what's it? Tailspire.
Yeah, Tailspire I've seen quite a bit of.
Wait, Tailspire? What is Tailspire?
Tailspire's another VTT like Foundry or Roll20.
But this one's
Oh.
3D. And it's been out for years.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
So
it's very finicky. The only reason I even know about it is because of Dungeon Masterpiece.
so they took a stance. They said no. Like, so this is surprising because I will say this. The most Stockholm ass motherfuckers I have ever seen are D&D fans.
Oh,
The Nintendo fans are there.
I don't know. I've seen
Post Switch too. I'm gonna say
I've
these
seen
guys have been
I've
drawing lines.
I've seen plenty of people still cucking.
true. So we'll say it's a very slow race for last.
Along with the Sonic fandom.
Yeah, well, that's a fast race for last. There's no two ways about it. There'll be a fan even if the worst game in existence comes out. They'll be like, still blue though.
But he's not. He's purple.
He's purple. Like if you really look at it, like if you get real deep and you take that fucking like dropper tool, it's not blue. It's purple.
See, now I'm curious. Anywho,
Let's not do that.
but I will agree that there's some sympatry happening.
Yeah.
Some deep sympatry.
So if you could tell me that people are actually like, hey, we're pretty much done with this. That's impressive. That's a pretty big fuck up, right?
You know
We
what's
can say
so
that.
funny? Because to talk about D&D related items, Baldur's Gate 3, right? Developed by Larian Studios.
Mm-hmm.
Their previous game, Divinity Original Sin 2, has an entire mode in it where you can make maps and do that sort of shit.
Yeah, so there's kind of already other options.
And there was talk of them doing something like that in Baldur's Gate 3, and I think with mods it's already possible.
Well, you know what they should do is they should just make a VTT.
Larian wouldn't want to do that. They're already working on their next IPs.
I mean, that is fair, but also another aside. Just gotta throw this out there. Good on them because I think that I want to say it was head programmer came out and said that. By the way, like not everybody has to charge $80 for their games.
Yeah, Larian's not been fucking around.
Yeah, they
little
literally
shots fired. Actually,
Yeah,
There's
like
been some
straight
from Sven Vink to WotC as well. So did you guys see the Baldur's Gate 3 Stardew Valley mod?
What?
Oh,
No.
For Stardew Valley, someone literally made all of the locations in Baldur's Gate, all the characters.
that is way too. What did I tell you about fucking toxic cozy gamers? They go so deep in everything.
That mod got a DMCA strike from WotC.
Are you serious?
100%. They had to retract it because they started getting shit on, including by Sven Vink, who said, "Hey, I'm cool with this. It's a great fan work."
Dude, listen, man. What a great bunch of people.
That's
I'm
a G move, right?
Like really though, like that is insane.
I don't agree at all with Stardew Valley, but I sure do agree with people acting like gangsters.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think we can say that is in the world of just greedy motherfuckers, sketchy motherfuckers, penny pinching motherfuckers. It's actually yeah.
Ooh.
I think we could say that we need more people like Sven.
Mm-hmm. So that was gonna be so. Without spending the whole episode shitting on WotC, they fucking deserve it.
Yeah.
But so like the digital tool set has been in the wake of all this, kind of like the hot button topic. A lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, let's just go back to paper," because
nope.
Because there are
Actually, I think you'd like it in Daggerheart.
I might if you streamline it. Cool. I look at
Well, it's 2 sheets of paper, slightly more if you multi-class or are playing a ranger with a companion or a druid with beast form, and then you have your physical cards.
See, I'm okay with that. That's manageable. I look at my Pathfinder sheet sometimes, which, by the way, is on Path Builder. Fantastic.
I'm waiting
app.
for Star Builder 2 to drop.
so you want to know what? Fuck it, I'm interrupting you. I'm gonna do what I want.
Hold on, though. Like the amount of true just like shame that washed over you because you interrupted me. I'm like, it actually makes me feel bad for interrupting you. You're like, damn. That was perhaps the most polite thing I've ever seen you do.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, dude! Wow.
But
Sorry, go on.
Red Razor on his Patreon has already got a Star Builder second edition as a you can download like the alpha version
Pre-build, yeah.
Woo.
if you're a certain tier on the Patreon. So
They're cooking. I'm sorry. But no, I'm looking at my sheet sometimes on Path Builder. I'm like, I would not want to have. I would hate to see the piece of paper, the weird fucking construction board shit all taped together because one of them ain't big enough. You would to get all that information on there.
it's either a double-sided page or you just you print your spells separate. You print your
No, it looks like printed Legend of Zelda map. That's what it's gonna look like.
It is basically a DM screen per player.
It does get a little.
It's a little wild. I like having all the explanations right there because if I'm writing it down, I'm not writing down flavor text. You can kiss my ass. And
Damn, dude.
you know what I mean?
Nah, he's not wrong.
You know what I mean? Because you'll be sitting there so long just doing that. And
So I will say, back in the day when I played D&D 3E, the player's handbook, we had the tabs that you like stick in like your research folders and stuff. I literally had that book tabbed to shit.
well, you make it work one way or the other,
Yeah.
right? And like if I had to, sure. I don't have to.
So like, that's the thing is like
That's pissing off Canada.
what?
We might not have electricity. We keep making Canada mad. I'm just saying.
My word. Global, yeah.
I'm just saying. Then we're on paper and candlelight. I'm not gonna stop playing.
Just get some solar powered lanterns.
Fair. Look at see. I'm glad we have somebody smart here.
Hand crank chargers and generators.
That too, yeah.
You got to get that tablet. Keep it going.
Yeah, I'll crank it harder than you've ever seen.
I need my hub.
It's like it's so dark. There's no electricity anywhere.
How?
Excuse me.
That's a left-handed crank.
I'll do one. No, it'll be like a pedal boat, bro.
I was going to say the elliptical with the internet access where you power it by cycling.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna say a really unfortunate motion
Oh my god!
mix up.
Ow!
Damn.
That's not the fun motion in the ocean.
I don't like how we all came to a different fucking thing there. That's amazing.
Damn.
If they say
the
great
ouch in
minds
the
think
pouch.
alike, then I don't know what
That was psychotic. That we want to know. That was a shared. That was a shared mental
dream.
breakdown. So like, obviously, I'm gonna double back again, and be back on that fucking WotC bullshit. But like,
Yeah, because I think we kind of have to, because there is a lot to cover with Sigil. To be fair,
and like, it also shined a lot of light on the fact that they bought Wizards of the Coast bought D&D Beyond from, I can't remember the name of the company. And this was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's
this
like
was
7 or 8 years at
yeah,
least.
it's been might even been longer than that. But they haven't updated it since.
Yeah.
You know what
Are
I mean?
Surprised?
Yeah. I am actually a little surprised.
sometimes just kind of law of averages says over a very long period of time something should change.
So I have a fun little bit of history to share here.
Here we go.
This is the second time they fucked up a digital tool set for Dungeons and Dragons. They tried it back with 4th edition.
Oh my word. Yes, I've heard about this before.
Wait, they did?
They did.
Oh
They
shit.
tried making very heavy in like 07.
Wow, dude. Bad idea.
It might not have been a bad idea.
No, nothing was running good in 07. Not on a PC. Come on, we can admit that.
Okay, fair.
07 does not need that year didn't need any more fucking bad shit for a PC, man. Like you could literally fucking run what was out at the time? Fucking Fable. Put Fable on the PC and cook it.
Left 4 Dead 2?
Left 4 Dead 2 was out there. There you go. We'll go with that.
Half-Life?
Half-Life, yeah. Half-Life was cooking PCs. Half-Life was cooking.
Crisis. Didn't Crisis 1 come out in 2007?
Don't tell me that, because that's been a long time, and I still thought that game looked good.
It's still not necessarily.
Oh, it looks awesome.
Yeah,
It's still a benchmark for PCs if you can run Crisis well.
which is actually kind of wild. Like you got Crytek, they were just like, we're gonna make your PC cry.
Well, I do think it's funny that we were talking about this during portable gaming PCs, right? You said Indiana Jones and the Great Circle sort of becoming the new one.
It was 2007.
Damn, dude.
You
All
got
right,
that fucking encyclopedia.
with that knowledge, bro.
Yeah.
I was I don't know why I was thinking 2007 was like fucking still hot PlayStation 2. Hot PlayStation 2.
So, I mean, technically, yes.
It was kind of like the end, though.
Because, Final Fantasy 12 came out in 2006.
So that was really...
Yeah, that
like
was
the
the
end.
last, because that's also the year that PS3 and Xbox 360 dropped.
Right.
It was
Okay.
2006, 2007.
So I was kind of in there, because I was thinking like Devil May Cry 3, dog. I was like, yeah.
No. I mean,
I think it was 5.
see, now you got me fucking
2005. I'm all right. This is gonna be the last one we're gonna do that because I do want to talk a little bit more about the kind of insanity that is Sigil in this day and age. But I think it's 2005. It's gonna be my bet.
Googling. Dante's Awakening?
Yeah.
2005.
Hey, let's go.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, Devil May Cry fan right here. I ain't no fake fan, boy.
That was excellent.
So
where was
absolutely.
it on your top 10 games list?
Devil May Cry 5 was.
Yeah, where was that on your top 10 list?
Oh, 7? Question mark?
I don't have my notebook, so
I don't remember, but I will say it has changed since. Anyways.
Oh, okay. That's an update. We need to do.
So we might need to be topic revisited potentially. But I do want to say, because not only did we have trouble importing things, we have still technically charging for an incomplete and non-functional.
And it won't ever be functional.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is
Yeah,
that,
because you laid off 90% of your people.
yeah, like wasn't it something? It was like ridiculous. They had like 3 guys left or some
Yep.
shit.
So, yeah, of like a team of 40 people.
Which also, can we just say this? Companies, stop laying off your people. You could find something for them to do, right? They're
So,
programmers. You can
I
find something.
will say, technically speaking, though several people were laid off from that project, several of them did actually get other internal transfers, and everybody got a severance package. They got placement. So, at the very least,
not the
Wizards of the
worst thing,
Coast did try and take care of them.
Okay, that's all right. I can take that. That's better than what they've been doing because they don't need any more bad press.
That was the thing. Right on top of Sigil, the DMCA claim for the Baldur's Gate 3 Stardew Valley mod came out.
Yeah, you
Like back-to-back bad PR nightmares.
They really got to stop doing that.
Right, because a lot of the people that they laid off that, worked with Larian to make Baldur's Gate 3, I don't think got that same severance deal.
Wow.
Okay. Wow.
Which, yeah.
So I guess it's pretty sad when you're like, growth as far as the company goes. You know what I mean? They seem to have changed from being absolutely horrible.
Well, I mean, when you hit the bottom, there's nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, true.
Unless you have a jackhammer. Or you're in a volcano.
Then there's Wizards of the Coast.
Nope.
There might be ore under here. Nah, dude, it's just dog shit. This is the landfill. Why are you digging here?
Madame.
There's like asbestos diamonds you might find there. You pick it up and it just, and then you just die. You just turn into a fucking cordyceps mushroom from fucking
gosh.
Last of Us.
Oh my word.
Watsy's gonna be the start of it.
Yeah. Hey, you heard it here first.
They're just gonna try to sue them.
But I
Sue
remember
the zombies for no reason.
I do remember you were speaking to me, or you actually showed me a video of even just load times on this thing, and it's literally just to start something, just stock map or quick build map, whatever, all fucking pre-built stock shit. Start it up. 20 minutes later, you'll get it.
Yeah,
like it was really ridiculous. It was like what 3 or 4 minutes. Or
Yeah,
something.
it
It was
was
a long time.
That's
old school.
insane.
Yeah, old school PlayStation 2. Yeah. And like, because
Running on Unreal Engine 5.
I remember we
On
talked.
dial-up.
I remember we talked about it when we first heard of it, when they first had the
Yeah, the reveal. I
the
remember.
reveal trailer, and like, there is no universe in this hobby where the required hardware should be Alienware laptops.
yeah.
Yeah.
That in the reveal trailer, and matter of fact, every single because they managed to cobble together a somewhat of a demo for Gen Con.
Yeah.
It's like a year and a half ago now.
And it looked just as bad then too.
And everybody had
Yeah, they haven't updated it.
Yeah.
Since. What do you expect?
Yeah, that's right. It probably is the same fucking build.
Point 0.000001. It loads.
like we turned it on and it didn't immediately.
Ellipses. Eventually.
Yep.
Why is the eventually in cursive? We had to add that later. That's the only update you get. I don't have a job anymore.
I decided to make it look pretty, like that shit at the end of a book, where it's like
Finn, yeah.
But like, how? You don't technically need anything other than paper and dice at the very minimum.
You know what's funny? You can technically do dice rolls with a deck of cards.
Fair.
You know what's even funnier is you could have built Sigil in Unreal Engine 3 and it would have been fine. Why do you need dynamic lighting? I need global illumination. Like,
You know
why?
what's
Like,
funny?
What are we doing?
So I'm going to talk for a second because as someone that used to pay for Roll20 and use some of those features, there's actually a dynamic lighting feature in Roll20.
For like the 2D maps?
Yeah, not quite to the same scale as a 3D map, but you can do a fog of war. You can change like Minnie's field of view. Bless you.
That was
Dude, he hit you with that quick, bless you. He's like, the devil won't have you today.
But it was actually really cool because I built an entire dungeon for an FFD6 campaign I was running.
right.
Man, I actually want to try that. I know you've talked about that a couple times. I know
Yeah.
we've probably covered quite a few things that you've talked about a couple times. But
like it was cool because like literally I built an entire maze and I could put in hard stops where they couldn't move their minis past it, right?
Mhm.
Because it wasn't a door, it was a wall.
yeah. And like the thing is, isn't that enough? Because if you really think about it, the whole idea of any tabletop is supposed to be imagination, dude. That's the whole point.
Yep.
You know, or you're playing, what do they call it? A video game. You know what I mean?
Well, there's also the fact that like if you want to establish 3D type effects in Roll20, right? Because seeing it from the player side versus the GM side, one of the things I've always loved is that when you're designing everything and everything like that, there's literally a button you go up in the settings and say view as player, so you can mess around and see what your players are going to see. So it made designing this maze fairly like I can see how this is going to work, how that's going to work, stuff like that. But there's literally like you can do pages, each a different map. So if your characters go upstairs, you just load them into the next map.
And that I think that's cool. And I think that to that level is fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially because you do have to have some type of problem solution for playing with people in long distances. You know what I mean? Obviously you can't have
That's the number one thing. That's the only mountain to climb when it comes to making the hobby.
Yeah.
And it's just dealing with players who are not in your area.
Yeah, and I think
That should be the only thing.
Yeah, really, because once you overcomplicate it and you put all this, like the fact that you have any type of overly specific hardware requirements to run a VTT, it should never be NVIDIA GTX fucking 4080.
It
Why
had
I
higher-
need a 4080 to run this
and
shit?
you know what's going to be funny? You know they're only going to optimize it for that one specific series of graphics cards.
Exactly. So heaven forbid you have a different name brand graphics card. Heaven forbid you have a 4070 because now that just doesn't run.
Well,
It had
is even
higher.
compatible with the 50s.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
It had requirements that were higher than Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, which is insane, dude. That's
Right.
insane. You know what I mean? And I think that when you start looking at it like that, you start to realize how just bloated it is. And I know a lot of people are very visual when it comes to things, but like even when it comes to us, we're artists, right? So we actually a lot of our group is artists.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of drawing of our own characters. So
Yep.
you can see specifically to the detail what they look like. Not stock hair, swap over to the left, turn it purple, call it a day. You know what I mean?
Because that was the thing. Like Tailspire is a 3D. It's a 3D virtual tabletop, and it allows you to import STL files. So
That's problematic.
I mean,
Yeah, that's problematic.
you can get some really weird shit.
Your local Blender users are going to have a lot of fun with that.
Fair. But
Like, look at this, it's a cock monster.
that's exactly how it'll sound.
Just over a really cracky mic.
Like r/RPG horror stories. Look at this.
Have you ever fought a crock of shit?
Is there an actual build for a crock of shit?
So, in the first digital campaign I did,
Okay.
where I was a player, we were raiding the Archduke's castle and we had to go in through the sewers. We wound up fighting a crocodile made of shit called the Crock of Shit.
Nice.
What I love is that it was an actual like creature, but it was just made of shit.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's just the shit demon from Dogma, but crocodile.
Or the Great Mighty Pooh from
Yeah.
Conquers.
Oh my word.
I killed it with a lightning bolt.
I imagine a lightning bolt striking just shit and exploding and it just being a horror show.
I wasn't in melee at the time.
Hey!
You gotta talk to Arturian and Artir and Tellurian were the characters' names.
Oh my gosh. You're sitting there like, I'm ready for this. Boom.
And then the party got separated because we were going up into the dungeons.
I'm getting to the nearest anything. I'll burn my skin off at that point. I'm like going out there looking like fucking, just like one of those weird red zombies from fucking Resident Evil.
What is it? The Crimson Heads?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
mean,
No, I think that,
you can't do that. You can't do that in
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sigil.
Yeah, remember that?
Why are people dumb?
So, you know what else is sad?
Literacy is a thing.
Is the city of Sigil in D&D has been around for a very long time. It's a very cool city. Like there's an entire, in the epic level handbook for D&D 3rd edition, they talk about it.
I
Because
didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, the epic level handbook talks about playing characters above level 20 and tells you how to progress everything up to hundreds of levels of play.
Okay. And then, however, you go into your VTT and you name it after that city, and it becomes Sigil. When was that? When was that a thing? You know what I mean? Because there was a point where people were insistent on this, that it was Sigil. I'm like, just so you know.
You know what's funny is I think the city's even mentioned at a point in Baldur's Gate 3 and they say Sigil.
You know what I mean? This is what I'm saying.
And then you have Matt Mercer who said fucking Sigil.
Oh my god!
And then you had a couple of developers from friggin'
so Matt Mercer actually said Sigil.
I'm pretty sure he was the one who I think he was the one who actually insisted it was called. He sat there and talked about it.
I'm actually kind of mad about that, man. You've been doing this a long time, Matt. I got no bad blood against you.
Oh, that's like going up against a god at this point.
Yeah,
If we,
I'll do it though. It'd be just like that Duskblood trailer when they see that crazy ass moon, except it's just Matt Mercer. Instead of wings, it's just hands.
oh man. Nope.
And I think like that is kind of my biggest problem with
Sigil.
Sigil in general is just even in its best form, it still wouldn't be able to do what you would want it to do as a GM or even as a player.
Right.
Because the whole idea of just being able to imagine things up, like we played actually last Monday. And we played a little side campaign we were doing. And I remember I asked specifically, because I have a melee character, and I asked specifically if I could just grab, it was an NPC it wasn't an enemy. We were just trying to protect, it was a princess. So I was like, can I specifically just grab her and just use her as a shield? It was
use your body.
Me as a shield for her.
Oh, you were playing a chaotic evil character.
Like, yeah. But no, I asked specifically if I could do that. If I could protect her by using my character's body as a shield. And there wasn't a specific action that said I could do that. But as just me communicating with a GM, it was just like, sure. Now, imagine if you use Sigil and you tried to do
It doesn't sound right?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Like, that's got to be a hard G, not a soft
Yeah,
G.
yeah.
It's sigil.
Yeah.
It's an actual word.
Yeah, that's my problem with it.
Like, if you're going to call it sigil, it's got to be like SYGIL. Or better yet, CYGIL.
Or better yet, just don't call it that.
Yeah, fucked
Steven
up
Seagal.
I was going to say fucked up Cyril.
Oh, yeah, that's oh my
He
God.
knows Cyrillic. That's why it looks like a G.
Oh my gosh.
Oh shit.
But yeah, no, that you are limited to what that graphics engine is going to produce.
And it's asking for way too much from your hardware.
Way too much. And you're limited to, the models that they put it, because yes, you can customize your stuff, but there's still assets that they have put into this program.
Unless you pay for more.
Unless you pay for more,
Yep.
which the only thing is though, you can't technically do that. I mean, you can do that. You can
They
pay for it still.
actually do have some paid stuff that you can get for Sigil right now.
We'll cover that in a second. But because eventually you would hit that point where they've released, we'll say it's a monthly thing. Monthly they add some new clothes or new hair or whatever. It's still only based off of what they add.
Yeah.
So now all of this imagination in your head, you could have imagined, we'll just say Light Yagami as your, sorcerer character.
I would say artificer for light.
We'll go with artificer. That's fine. We'll go with that. So you have Light Yagami as artificer, but then you don't have Light Yagami hair. You don't have Light Yagami build. You don't. You know what I mean? So you can't really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're very much limited. And I think that even in its best form, it's still not really doing what you want it to do or you need it to do.
Right.
It kind of damned it from the beginning.
And then from like the aspect of running the game, there's no, like, you're constrained by what the drop down menus will let you do.
Yeah,
and what there, if you play on Roll20, if you play on Fantasy Grounds or
Foundry,
Albert Rodeo, and
you guys know all of them.
I didn't try any of them.
I've
And
used Foundry too.
they have support for basically everything because they don't. I mean, it is visuals for a map.
Yep.
You can import character sheets.
Yep.
And then you can roll dice. Other than that, you keep it casual.
Yeah.
That way you can do whatever you need to do.
Mm-hmm. And you don't have to go and learn an external program because, yeah, sure, I'm sure people are going to take this pre-alpha, whatever the fuck type of build it is. They're going to take this build and they're going to crack it wide open and they're going to do whatever they want with it. You know what I mean?
If they can get access to that.
I think I think you're gonna get some motherfuckers who are going to make it their mission.
Yeah.
Probably. But like even then, it has no use outside of D&D Beyond.
Yeah, they kind of did.
There,
That's
you let the community find a way. They'll do it if they deem it worth it.
right, but
It'll be open source,
why even use
open sigil.
Yeah.
Why even use
Call it
D&D Beyond though? We've already covered that it's a terrible interface now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you can't make it work well.
yeah.
I think the amount of time it would take to make it work well, the development,
Right.
fighting through the red tape and the legality of it, because you are reverse engineering a program, which is fucking against the terms of service
Yeah.
by a long shot. Not saying I'm against that type of thing,
Yeah.
but it's
I think that, them kind of tying everything to their like proprietary systems and everything like that. And let's just be real, anything that is straight up from D&D, WotC, Hasbro is trash. You can get sheet builders from the Google Play Store right now for free.
Yeah.
And you could build whatever you wanted for whatever system you wanted. And it runs fine.
Yep.
Mind you, most of the time it's being ran by like one guy. You know what I mean? And somehow they're still managing to pull it off.
Path Builder is one guy.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Star Builder, Pathfinder 1E, and Path Builder 2E. Or Path Builder 1.
Yeah,
And now Star Builder 2E.
yeah. That
coming
man
soon.
covered the whole damn thing.
Paizo, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Whole Paizo verse. He's just like, I got it.
Yeah. And then you have a team of guys that can't hack it on one. You know
Well,
what I mean?
so I'm going to talk about Demiplane now.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So here's the thing. Talking about things that have multiple systems. I'm going to list a couple of the games hosted on Demiplane.
Mm.
Number 1, Daggerheart.
Full support.
That was quick.
All of the references for all of the like open beta stuff are on there.
That was quick.
It's every time literally they announced a new version of the open beta, within 24 hours Demiplane was updated.
And we can't get one in how many years? For D&D Beyond?
Cyberpunk Red is fully supported on Demiplane.
Oh, damn. All right.
There's a Marvel tabletop that's supported on there.
Yep.
Oh, damn. No.
Aliens tabletop. Like the Alien movie franchise has its own tabletop. You can play an android, you can play a human.
Dude, they have the Shin Megami Tensei one.
No.
I don't even know if it's out yet. I remember seeing it just in passing, and then
Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Starfinder 2nd Edition's open beta is there. You can go make character sheets for Starfinder 2E right now on Demiplane. And here's the thing, you get 7 characters for free.
oh my gosh.
Now, if you mess around with builds, that's not a lot.
Yeah.
But like, if you're like, I'm going to make one character for a campaign, that's fine.
I got time to build like one character per campaign, to be fair.
And delete as well. You can always just delete a character if
Yes.
you need a new one. But you get 7 character slots for free. And anything you buy on there, because Roll20 bought Demiplane, you have access to on Roll20 now with full Discord integration.
That's another thing, because we gotta at least say Discord is a phenomenal way to play over long distances with friends.
As well, because you can get dice bots.
Yeah,
so
it is almost required reading if you're going to be using any type of digital, if you're going to be playing digitally.
So then it kind of, again, it begs the question with all of these free resources that are significantly better,
Yeah.
And more well ran, better support if you have problems with it. You know what I mean? I will say, lucky enough, at least when it comes to Path Builder, I've never had a problem that I've had to be like, hey, help us out. But,
Well,
which again says a lot for
There's
them.
one more I want to mention. So Brandon Sanderson's tabletop RPG system is supposed to release later this year, right? Cosmere.
Okay.
I was messing around in that character creator. Kind of interesting. There's a lot of fucking lore. So you'd have to be doing a lot of reading, and I was kind of reading through it. And I started building like a rogue character. I was going to do an investigator. type thing.
Okay, so I kind of noticed that too. Is recent tabletop seems. I know lore has always been a part of tabletop. I'm not that plebbish when it comes to that, but it seems like lore deep is a thing. You know what I mean?
so
Very
rules light, Lord deep.
Yeah.
So here's one of the things, right? So within the Dungeons and Dragons subset, how many different cosmologies, we'll say, can you name?
I don't even think I can name it.
Forgotten Realms,
Yep.
Yeah, there's
Eberron, Greyhawk, Spelljammer,
What was that fucking school one?
Strixhaven.
Yeah, there we
right.
go. There we go.
That's new because that was a crossover with magic.
Stupid.
Athos, Dark Sun.
I was Dark Sun. I just watched a video about
Dark Sun is fucking
That's
metal.
psychotic.
It's
is what
fucking metal.
It makes Warhammer look kind of tame.
No, don't. No,
He's not wrong. It's a dying world. At least in Warhammer, you have the infinity of space.
Yeah, there's nothing. Everything's gone.
Yeah.
I don't know. Everything being fodder also kind of makes it a little bit more brutal, though.
Everything
Fair.
is fodder. They literally created a slave race by molding DNA from like orcs, elves, and dwarves together, and then the Mergs rebelled.
Yep.
I mean, that is dark. That is dark. But I
And
think
everything is run by evil sorcerer kings.
it's a thing of numbers, right? When you have endless people to send into a meat grinder, it has no other choice but to be more brutal. You know what I mean?
Okay. I mean, fair is fair, but
So
it's the closest thing because, like, you know, I've always said this. Grimdark doesn't work all the time. The smaller it gets, the more unbearable it is.
Yep.
Where it's just you're kicking the shit out of one person
Yeah.
just for the sake of it, and it's a little gross.
That is bottom of the barrel, Grim.
Like Berserk is fucked up.
Yeah.
And Berserk doesn't, in my opinion, work because it's just one guy.
Yeah.
It's just one guy.
One guy and one girl.
One guy, one girl. And it's just
Constant
like for no ass reason. It's too much.
Yep.
But Warhammer, because it's the whole fucking universe.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah. A whole metal setting helps better than one person just being tormented.
And Dark Sun is,
Yep.
it manages to be big enough.
I would definitely want to check it out for sure.
It's awesome.
Ravenloft.
Ravenloft, that's another big one.
Yep.
Fucking you guys.
Motherfucker.
So that's 7.
Yep. Shit. Dragonlance. Did we already say?
No, we did not. That's 8.
Yep.
Even though, you know, the very interesting thing apart about Dragonlance is that technically that is like the only official third-party D&D setting.
And
Interesting.
All of it was written by a different team of people, but it's all fully compatible.
So I have a question. How did Wizards of the Coast go about acquiring that?
They literally hired someone to write it for them.
Okay.
They literally
There's
hired
Dragonlance
an assassin.
Because that was my worry. Is that somebody was just kind of like knocking around doing their thing, like, oh, I think this would be really cool. And they were just
No,
like,
Dragonlance was one of the most popular fucking
It is. It's
settings
probably
that
literally...
they don't even touch.
Yeah. Well, they don't do anything outside of the Forgotten Realms anymore.
Yeah,
They fucked up Spelljammer. Strixhaven's boring. How do you turn Magic School boring? You've got fucking better shit than Harry Potter because you don't need to use a fucking wand.
Yeah.
But no, you fucked that up.
Ravenloft is just like a dead horse. Kicked.
oh my God.
Kicked and kicked and kicked. And
So
kicked.
the problem is it's an undead horse kicking back now.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but come on, we've
Right.
had enough of Strahd.
There's been so
I don't
much
know who
curse of
Strahd
Strahd. So
Y'all are punching above my fucking head.
Strahd is basically the vampire lord of one of the dread domains in Ravenloft is his domain.
Yep.
Castle Expedition to Castle Ravenloft is a module going back to I think 2nd edition.
And it's not a place per se, it's a demiplane.
Yeah, it's basically and there's like several of them.
Strahd is the D&D universe's Dracula.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just pumped up way.
Okay.
Matter of fact,
Dracula with the pumped up kicks.
yeah.
He's more akin to Castlevania's Dracula.
Yes.
Okay, well, Castlevania Dracula is badass. Badass.
Strahd's just been overdone, right? Because there's even other dreadlords you could do from that realm
Okay.
that have like Aslan Rex,
Yep.
the Lich Lord.
Fucking yeah.
But the
I'm
only
glad you
lich
said-
that-
I'm along for the ride.
the only lich they ever talk about now is fucking Vecna.
Yeah, which is boring because Vecna is technically a god.
And Vecna,
Got fucked up by his own lieutenant.
and actually nobody knows about Vecna because all they know about is Stranger Things. And Stranger Things is coming out with a new season in like November.
Stranger
Yeah.
Things sucked.
Hot take, but all right. I've never actually watched it.
I
so.
would say calm down just a little.
So here's the thing. I'm just gonna be real. This doesn't count for everybody, so I'm not calling out everybody when I say this
Okay.
because I know you like Stranger Things.
I've never watched it.
So I'm gonna say,
Go on. Measure your words carefully. Go on.
preface this by saying this doesn't count for everybody.
You're within
I
melee.
think a lot of people were fans of Stranger Things because they were weird on 11. That's what I'm gonna say.
Oh,
I'm just gonna
can't
say
put that on the
right
whole
now.
fucking fandom.
I'm casting that harder than I fucking cast a fucking lore into the water, boy.
I'd say a small minority.
So here's the
You
thing.
can't be. Not everybody's fucking Aubrey Graham.
You know what side we're on. So the thing is that this is what I'm saying. Even if it wasn't necessarily the most problematic obsession with the character, it's just the. So do you remember Galarians?
Ow.
So
The
11
back part of my brain.
Yeah. So 11 is fucking Rion is who 11 is.
Oh, boy.
You know what I mean? So people are just kind of obsessed with the tortured child held in fucking captivity with some self-damaging power. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just, I think it was all right at its best. And then people just got really obsessed with.
That's a hot take. We haven't really had a hot take like that in a minute.
Yeah.
But whatever.
But
I'm here
listen,
for it. I'm here for it.
For our younger audience, look up Galarians and you'll see
That
exactly
is
what-
crazy, though, to be asking of that. Because this shit was obscure when I was a youth. That's insane.
Yeah, no, that's I've always
That-
kind of had a bone to pick with specifically that character from Stranger Things.
That's
because-
crazy.
Yeah.
Right, but that's the thing, right? Like, what has Wizards of the Coast done with any of these settings? They fucked up the new Spelljammer because we're gonna be fucking space pirates, but there's no rules for starship combat.
That was. You see, you went and fucking reminded me of that. And
You're welcome. Strixhaven doesn't have good rules for magic duels.
Yep.
Which basic D&D covers.
they dead ass don't even have.
What are magic tools?
So basically what it would boil down to is like counterspell, dispel magic, figuring out what your enemy is casting. It's like spellcraft checks, things like that.
Okay.
There's a basic framework between skills and certain spells that allow you to do a spell duel.
Interesting. Okay, so that actually sounds cool.
Like in D&D 3.5, there's literally an entire build about being a counterspeller using the Shire class into Binder.
You guys know so much more than
I've built one of them. It's awesome. Enemy started casting spells. I said no. I just shoved my vestige out of my body for a turn.
Can I just, before we continue, roundabout, me and him started. Roundabout. I don't know. I didn't pick any of this. I feel like I am just so low level.
So Binder was a class that came out in the Tome of Magic. It was the best class of the three that came out. The other two were interesting, but horrid systems. True naming, fuck you. Moving on.
Oh, shit.
I'm going to shit on a whole third of a book. But the idea of the Binder is that you make pacts with beings that exist in between time and space. They're not a part of anything anymore.
Good
There's a
lord.
whole ass list of vestiges.
And it's a lot more like a partnership than partnership per se than a like where you become a warlock. And
So what's very interesting is that ever since D&D 4th edition, Binder sort of got folded into Warlock. Warlock 4e and Warlock 5e are very heavily influenced by the idea of the Pact, which that was the whole idea of the Binder class. Every morning you wake up and you draw whatever vestiges you want to do. And eventually you're able to bind up to 5. And you're able to make crazy flexible builds with this.
Very cool. Okay.
And then, like, Anima Mage is the prestige class that I was referencing. So you go Shire, Binder, and then some of the vestiges really help with, like, basically you're able to, with Anima Mage, you're able to empower your metamagic stuff by either suppressing your vestiges or expelling them out of you.
Okay. I was just thinking of a very unhealthy mage.
No.
Like an anemic mage.
what the hell's wrong with you?
So Anima might have been better to say.
What was that?
Anima. An Anima Mage.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense.
So like I actually used for my sword sage, I had a couple levels in binder.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Interesting. See, I ran straight.
Yeah. You were stock. You went
stock. Crusader 16 Warblade 1, I think.
Yeah, yep.
Because you were like, I need some more White Raven maneuvers and I really want access to that diamond mine.
Yeah. Yep. It was like necessity to get specifically what I wanted, but that was it. That was the only reason. Yep. And even to a certain extent, I think I did what do they call it in Pathfinder? It's dedication.
Oh, dedications. Yeah.
So I took a dedication for my Pathfinder character, which was the first time I ever did. It was Thaumaturge.
Thaumaturge. I got that.
Armitage dual mage.
Did you improve his charisma? Because that's a charisma-based class.
So I specifically got it because you could do the you know it. You know what it is.
I know what you're talking about, the basic idea.
Yeah, because it's like you fucking do a thing where you're like...
you have a focus.
Yeah, and then your weapon, you have a specific weapon that, like, if you designate a shot, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying.
I know.
Just when we're editing this, just scroll some text. Pause it if
that
you
was crazy.
Pause it if you want to read it.
That was crazy.
Motherfucker, dude. You know what the comments are gonna be?
That was crazy.
They're like, man, those two guys, all their knowledge about tabletops, and then there's me
doing this. You get that clamshell, cloister, shelter, cloister.
Cloister.
Oh my gosh, I can't. I'm done.
That's the thing, though, right? Like, there's so much good stuff. Like, let's speak about the Tome of Battle itself. Y'all played Martial Initiators.
I miss that so much. And there are some. I mean, you can kind of get that way a little bit in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, but there is no all the really cool fucking martial arts fucking names, all of the varied effects.
Right.
I just miss it. I miss it.
Yeah, there's
so
no
deeply.
like, you're not saying I'm going to use Girlon Windmill Flesh Ripper.
Yep.
Yeah, that's insane.
8th level Tiger Claw.
I don't think I couldn't have brained myself into being able to do that in the first place. See, back when I was playing 3.5, I remember I struggled with the math. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm going to you, like, what should my HP be? Like, how about them saves?
You want to know what's crazy is that there is actually a 3.5 app.
I would do it with the app. I'll do it again with the app. I'm gonna be honest.
And you can
big
custom,
fucking surprise. I suck at math. I'm not smart.
but you can actually custom build your you can custom build a class. And I was working on importing the Sword Sage stuff.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it's.
I think that's one thing that I will miss to kind of, because the 3-action economy is something that we've talked about a lot when it comes to the Pathfinder / Starfinder type of systems.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot in a general sense, but I do think there was something cool about with very limited actions having a build that gave you a lot of actions that felt really fucking cool.
The White Raven stuff.
The White Raven shit was so
go everybody attack.
Yeah, dude, it was so fucking cool. And I'm like, that is the one thing I think that to give a more D&D style tabletop system where it's very much like move hit. You know what I mean? It's really cool when you can build somebody who kind of lives above that rule a little bit, and it's like I miss that feeling because you feel very strong when you do that.
Mm-hmm. And there was so much more because like subclasses are a thing in 5th ed. There are a ton of different dedications to have in PF2E, which makes it feel a lot more open and a lot more free. You get to make the characters you want. But the 3.5 had such a massive saturation of books that came out between 3rd edition and 3.5. It was, I think it might have actually been the most books that was ever released for a system in the D&D line.
I'd buy that.
And you really had access to so many different options.
Right. Especially because, like, when you're building a character, right, prestige classes is really where you start looking. You're going to be like, is this class something that I want to take to 20? And Sword Sage, Warblade, and Crusader, perfectly fine classes to take to 20th level. That 20th level Warblade ability is still fucking nuts.
Yep.
I've never even seen it. I'll be honest. What is their 20th level ability?
So, if I remember right, let me just look it up real quick.
Fair.
I might still have
there was
Battle on my
Shadow Sun Ninja was another one that I
Shadow Sun Ninja was really, really cool.
Because it had this ability that every round you could like project an aura around you that was light and would blind people.
Okay.
And then it would swap. And there would be darkness.
Yep.
Oh, that is kind of cool. That's Cloak and Dagger, boy.
Yeah.
That's Cloak and Dagger.
It was really, really cool because like it was focused on. So Shadow Sun maneuvers are cool because it's all about like grapples and things like that.
Ooh,
way back when I actually built one of the NPCs in the
that's what it is.
In the what arc were we in? It was
it the Winter Court?
No, it was Autumn Court.
Autumn Court.
Oh yeah, that's
Argoro.
Right. Oh,
I built him as a Shadow Sun Ninja, and the whole thing about Shadow Sun Ninja is if you use every time you use a maneuvers, it builds like a darkness.
Yep.
And then if you die, you come back as a motherfucking vampire.
Yep. So,
that's badass.
20th level Warblade ability. I wanted to make sure I was correct. Stance Mastery. You get to have 2 of those stances active. Now, as we know, stances are very powerful effects.
Yep.
Because you had straight up just like Island of Blades from Sword Sages, as you've got flanking any which way. Assassin Stance gives a Sword Sage sneak attack. Mantle of the White Raven was one of the White Raven ones, or Iron Will Guard or something like that.
I feel like Mantle of the White Raven, I feel like I had that.
I think so.
I feel like I did.
The stance is allies in a 60-foot radius of you get a +2 bonus on will saves and then like a +4 against mind affecting effects.
Woo! Cooks. You know what I mean? So you get 2 of those?
Yes.
That's incredible.
That's White Raven is one of the disciplines that Warblade has access to. Diamond Mind, Tiger Claw, White Raven, and Stone Dragon.
I know I fucks with Diamond Mind for you. I fucks with Diamond Mind heavy.
I think that like there have been martial classes that I've played in tabletop RPGs since, but I just wish I could recapture that.
Right, because that's the thing, right? You sit there and say, I'm going to use Iajutsu Focus along with Sapphire Nightmare Blade.
Yep.
And
you can play a motherfucking quick draw samurai.
And it just sounds cool, too. Can we just be real?
Right, because you can get the visual of like your character dropping into a stance, drawing their sword,
and
cutting.
And I think that is the one thing, just to kind of tie it back to, kind of this over pre-built aspect of a lot of things, is that the more you take kind of the imagination side of things on your, programmers and modelers and this, that, and the other thing, the more you give that to them, the less you kind of get that theater of the mind moment where you have it in your, and I don't care if you are playing a tabletop RPG with a bunch of friends and you do that cool thing. Maybe you fought a boss. Maybe that boss lasted a long time, and then you get that kill. And it's a pretty famous line: "Is how do you want to do this?" You know what I mean? And you hear that, the heart starts pumping.
The table gets hyped.
Yeah. Everyone's hyping, bro, and it's like you miss that. And I think that not only is that a problem with just things like VTTs, but to a certain extent, more modern tabletop RPGs, because streamlining has kind of become the thing.
Yeah.
You do kind of miss that a little bit because and we kind of used to make jokes about it a lot too, where it's like use rope used to be
a skill.
It used to be a skill. You know what I mean? And it's like you think about it and it's like it's a motherfucking rope. But at the same time, if you creatively use that to make your ass a cowboy, suddenly now it's awesome. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where it makes that character very unique.
Right.
As opposed to, it could be a limited number of combinations between this and this in Pathfinder, for example, like a dedication plus an archetype plus class, you know what I mean? Type of thing.
And you sit there and like your swim skill is all been truncated into athletics, which is nice that you're not having to build a bunch of different skills. But I don't know, back then it kind of felt cool to have, hey, look, my guy is a swimmer. Or my guy is good at running.
I gotta say though, that's the thing, right?
Skill bloat was crazy.
Even with Pathfinder 2e, it never even a rogue doesn't get to be, they're the most skillful besides investigator, but even then you only get 6 to max. And it's so weird.
Yeah, and I think that even just to the fun aspect of things, over specialization could be a kind of entertaining thing too. Because not for nothing, imagine if you put a bunch of time into building, let's say, a swimmer. Let's say you never fucking run in the water.
Yeah.
So
we're doing Dark Sun. I'm gonna build a swimmer. You're in the desert.
You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it now becomes a little funny too, because you have this guy or girl, we don't discriminate, who's really good at swimming, but you're in a desert. You know what I mean? And it kind of adds to some hilarity, you know what I mean? And it's kind of one of those things where the less granular you get, the more kind of expected everything is. You know what I mean? Once you play we'll say a rogue in Pathfinder, they're going to be very roguey, very on brand roguey.
I will say that at the very least, with the different choices that Rogue and Pathfinder 2e makes, so cleric, you get your font, you get your healing or harm font, and you pick your domain and stuff, right? Rogue has stuff like that. You've got arcane trickster, so you actually get some magic. There's mastermind that lets you start using your dexterity or is that thief? That might be thief. You get to use your dex for attack and damage.
So
you can start really just shivving the fuck out of people.
Yeah, there is a little.
But have you ever wanted to play Indiana Jones?
Like the video game?
No, I mean as a character.
As a character, fuck yeah. Who wouldn't?
There was literally a class in 3E in the Sword and Fist book it's a prestige class called the Lasher. One of its moves was a whip grapple. You could literally use it, snap onto something, and swing.
Badass. Badass. Incredibly badass.
It's very good.
And by the way, I got to double back to this because I did say we're going to put a pin in that. As far as charging still for, some cosmetics and things that you can buy now in Sigil. To me, that basically sums up my problem with not just Sigil in itself, but Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro and how they're handling this, is that you can't abandon something and also still expect to make money off of it. It is.
You can't have your cake and eat it
Yeah,
too.
it really, dude. And
They want it to be $1 billion thing without investing in it to make it $1 billion thing.
yeah. And like, even worse so than that, you didn't even have a thing to begin with.
Right.
It doesn't work properly. It's horribly optimized. Most people can't use it. It's very limited. You know what I mean? And so not only did you not put, you don't want to put work into it to make it a $1 billion thing, but at the same time, you didn't even make it to begin with. It's like, you know, but you still want to charge for, if I want to go in there and for whatever reason I want to buy a fucking dragon mini now, you're still going to charge for that. You know what I mean? And I think that kind of like for Wizards of the Coast, for, you know, Sigil, for, I'm just going to say a lot of companies at large right now. The greed is crazy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the greed is killing the actual system, because the reality of it is, yes, I sit here and I shit talk D&D a lot, but I started on D&D.
Yep.
And there's never a point where I want a tabletop system to just die, especially dying very unceremoniously.
Because it's in the hands of the wrong people.
Yeah,
Exactly. Because the game itself is not bad.
Mm.
It's, to me, and like I've actually discovered this in my real life,
Mhm.
is I'm very deep in the like in the culture of it all.
Yeah.
I'm really deep in the politicking of everything. There are people who don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Right? I've talked to guys who play 5th edition. I was like, I don't really play it. And I'm like, oh, well, why not? I was like, this, and a third. I was like, and they go, I've never even heard of that.
Yeah.
You know, they've never heard of the Pinkerton thing. They've never heard of the Merry Christmas layoffs. They never heard of some of them haven't even heard of like the VTT stuff or anything like that. And like it sucks because the system is okay.
Yeah.
Not the best. There are other systems that are better.
Which is to be expected, as it should, right? Because like over this many years.
But it's not bad, and it shouldn't be. They shouldn't be getting shafted like this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing, right? In between so we've had the whole OGL fuck up.
Yeah.
Which,
oh gosh, yeah, I forgot that kind of began.
Yeah,
that was
really the tip of this shitberg.
Yep.
But then you've got one D&D coming out, which they've still not really fully figured out what's going on with that.
So they've abandoned that completely.
First thing they abandoned.
Yep.
That's
they wanted it to be this thing where you don't call it 5th edition, you don't call it 6th edition, you don't call it any. It's just one D&D, but they've completely abandoned that and then that initiative.
Now it's 5th edition 2025.
Yeah, which one D&D would have been a prettier name.
Yeah, yep.
Just call it 5.5 then.
And the thing is, I also think conceptually though, one D&D is beautiful. Because like I kind of think that the day and age of like editions, it's coming to an end. Let's be real. You know what I mean? With being able to manage and update everything very easily. You don't even really need printing or production companies for this now. You know what I mean? You can just update the rules.
TSR could have used that.
Boogity, 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 boogity.
This man will not let them escape without dunking on them.
Yep. They deserve it. I mean,
they do. And but I think, you know, obviously the long of it short, you know, I think that with not needing any printing or anything like that, or books or bindings or anything like that, that you don't really need to do an edition anymore. You're just going to update the damn thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Change your errata.
Yeah. So I think that the concept behind one D&D, I fully stood behind.
Right.
But then you said no to that, and then bloated even further to the point where you couldn't even handle it, and then said no to that too, but still want to make money off all of it. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Because like how cool would it have been if they had gone forward with it and then you started seeing them adapt some of those older source materials that were a little out there? Because, like, I'm going to drop a little bit of a hot take. 4th edition was not a bad system. It was a terrible role-playing system, but it was a good tabletop system.
Which I've always kind of been interested to give it a shot after you had explained it to me. And
so, straight up, we've been talking about the Tome of Battle, right?
Yep.
Every class had that sort of thing in 4th edition.
Yeah,
You
in the form
had-
of powers.
Yep.
Yeah.
You had, so you could still do your basic attack, but you had at-will powers that you picked basically 2 from level 1, and you could swap them out as you leveled up. But those were with you forever.
yeah,
And then you got encounter powers and then daily powers. So you
Okay.
had some pretty, like, I think Lightning Bolt was a wizard encounter spell. Fireball was a daily.
interesting.
So you could drop Lightning Bolt. You guys take the time to recover afterwards, and you've got Lightning Bolt back.
Yep.
You also had
Cool.
a concept called Second Winds, where once you got to a certain stage of HP, you could, it's basically the short rest in 5th edition,
Right.
but you immediately healed that much. And
Yep.
you had so many short second winds a day. And your cleric and your warlord, which that's a class that has never
Yeah.
resurfaced.
The warlord needs to make a comeback because
it was straight port from Marshall from 3.5
Mhm.
because it was the class that had auras and stuff like that. And you're out here with a shield and like your sword or your axe. You're the frontline battle commander. Crusader and Marshall literally formed the warlord.
Damn, that sounds cool.
able to, and it was so great. You were able to do so many things to change the move and attack. You got to change that completely
Right.
for your guys and screw with and disrupt the enemy as well.
That was the other thing. So you had your first 10 levels. D&D 4th edition went to level 30.
Okay.
So
Wow.
you had straight up your first 10 levels. Then you got to pick like an it might have been epic path, but from levels 10 to or 11 to 20, you're getting a specific, like, you pick basically a prestige class almost.
Yeah.
And you gain abilities from that, unique like encounter powers and stuff, in addition to your normal level stuff. And then at 21st level, you pick your epic destiny. So you can pick to become a demigod. You can pick to become
Frickin'
stuff like
A.
that.
Wow.
So you
dude.
get extra stuff. Like, there was a lot of good stuff there, but coming off the heels of the behemoth that was 3.5 is hard.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Which is understandable. But I think just kind of, closing thought that's kind of coming to my mind, right? Is what do you guys think about like the direction of tabletop at large? As far as I would say, we're starting to get to a point where it's a lot less gamey and a lot more role play. You know what I mean?
Yes and no.
Mm,
I think there's both veins, right? You have the old school Renaissance movement, which there's some skeevy shit in there
mhm.
for sure. But that idea of wanting that old school hard, like, you're basically a level 1 commoner, even if you're a level 1 fighting man.
Yeah, yeah.
There's not
Fucking,
necessarily
goodness.
something wrong with that idea of wanting it to be a gritty, dark world, right? Shout out to Dark Sun. Really, if you want to play that sort of a setting, Dark Sun is great. But low magic fantasy games, I'm not personally interested in them because this is a comment I read on Reddit or Facebook. I've seen it a few times and it's an idea I've always thought myself. Why would your character not retire as soon as they become wealthy enough to buy an inn? Your character, even a 5th level fighter, even in normal D&D, is still one of the strongest people on the planet. You save up enough gold, buy your thing. Somebody tries to rob you, you just kill them.
Yep. You just
true.
erase them instantly.
That is true.
Because there's low magic, right? So if you get a +1 longsword, you've basically got an artifact in a low magic setting. Like,
fair.
I got 500 gold. I'm going to go buy a fucking inn and just live out my days there and pass this sword down through the generations.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I think with the rules kind of like backing out a little bit as far as like each new system has not less and less, but the rules, they have gotten to a point where they're pretty well streamlined.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's fantastic because, damn it, I can learn multiple ones.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to drill myself on freaking Wrath and Glory
Mhm.
for Warhammer
Right.
because I want to run a game like that. And you know, it's a fairly heavy game. It's actually a lot lighter than like going full scale into like, I don't know, what have you, trying to, I guess when you learn a D20 system, you do kind of contagiously learn them all.
Yeah, because it's like a base to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that has come out after the year 2000, really even like 1984, is heavily based on old school D&D, right?
Yeah.
But it's cool. You know, I'll shout out again to Daggerheart, which is almost out.
Next month.
Yeah, which
Missed the special edition pre-order, but still got that thing.
I'm just saying maybe we do a little crit hit plays. What? Just saying what?
One shot in Daggerheart.
yeah, why not, right? Fuck it.
I'm probably going to force you to be a GM because I want to be a player. I haven't been a player in a minute.
That's fine.
You know how that shit goes.
Technically, I already have an idea for a campaign anyway, but
Ooh, okay.
do an unboxing video too because I'm gonna pre-order mine. I wasn't worried about the special edition anyway.
I wanted the special edition because it had a fucking screen. It had all the bits and bobs.
So the funny part is like I think they're eventually going to offer that GM screen separately because I've seen so many people be like, I really want the GM screen.
Yeah,
that's the thing that stood out to me.
Yeah, they're gonna.
But the price is right on it. You know,
Yeah.
Obviously, who knows what's going to happen, but the price is right on it. It's $50. Well, it's like after everything, our local taxes will put it up to like 70 and all that.
Yeah, it's
shipping cost is pretty high because it's coming direct. Whatever. I don't care.
$60.
That motherfucking thing is like $75.
Yeah.
And you get the whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a bad, even if you don't like it, it's not a bad thing to try it at that price.
And I think we can kind of agree that leave like the tabletop system development to players and GMs.
Yep.
Like I think if one thing kind of sums up why I think like Wizards of the Coast is dead, I'm just gonna be real. It's Hasbro, dude. It's Hasbro.
I agree.
They're too far away from sitting down and playing the damn thing to make, you know, well thought out and, you know, accurate and logical changes.
There were big wigs that didn't know what Sigil was. There were internal emails that were leaked. They were like, it was weeks before they shoved it out into the open.
At the end of
they were like,
February,
wait, it's not a game?
Oh my gosh.
They thought it was going to be another Baldur's Gate 3. So
yeah.
like, I agree. It is, you know, put it in the hands of GMs first.
You can't let
because players are a little munchkin-y, a little fucking psychotic, and they'll, you know, put it in the hands of real game runners and put right.
So for our audio only listeners, they're doing the D&D fuckery edition. Put your arms in an X up over your head when something
bothers you
instead of saying, "Hey, I don't fucking like that."
Simple enough. We're all adults here.
Yeah. Most of us are too.
Fair. I've learned this as another statistic. You know, we can ramble on about it all night, but like, not a lot of young players in this game.
Yeah.
It's that meniscus. It releases the chemicals from the degrading meniscus. It goes up into your brain and makes you good at rolling dice.
But you see, I have a feat. It's quickness over meniscus. At the expense of your knees, you're still swift as fuck, boy.
But what about F parentheses X equals meniscus divided by 2?
Wait, what? The fuck is that?
That is so meniscus is actually not a part of this equation. That is technically the beginning of what is called a derivative in calculus.
Good fucking lord, man. You're too smart for me.
He's quick on the math. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. And with that, we have reached the end.
At the hands of Ruby Nightmare Blade.
Yeah.
Beautiful. No, actually, Ruby Nightmare Blade is actually the name of my girlfriend.
What about Diamond Nightmare Blade?
Diamond sounds strippery.
We are Critical Hit.
Emerald Razor.
And then... Find us wherever you...
Scissors. I almost hit our camera.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for that to fall. Find us wherever you find that bullshit. Find us on YouTube at CritTube. Find us on X at CritHitOfficial.
I've lost my mind.
Come see us every week for your weekly hit of crit. Till next time. Shit, that AC was high on that.